Can you say something?
Who?
Wayne?
Oh,
Yes, you want me to test the audio?
No, it's fine. It's that the audio's going to the computer, which honestly is just a few of us, so.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And now I switch to the,
Hello, everyone.
hi, good evening.
It's
Uh,
too cold today.
I know. And you have a slice waiting for you, but more
I'll
than.
have to have your slice for you.
Yeah, no, I wish, these are the kind of occasions where it's like, with the weather and norovirus and everything else flowing. We just do Zoom.
Hello, everyone.
We can grab slices if you want, or if anybody doesn't want, and then we can get started. Just give us a minute. I'm gonna go on mute real quick. I'm going to the lights.
Who's all on?
Oh, that's that. Wayne, Jim, Marielle, Isidro. Leo's joining later and on remote. We emailed again. Oh, and is there was an joining on remote?
The one at the main.
Nobles is away. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, Nobles is away, and then somebody else emailed, who reached out to me. And I don't think the Will's joining.
Mary, Joelle, Steve.
Mary, I haven't heard anything from. Steve? I think let's expect
I know,
Steve
right?
later because this Rezo that's here, I don't know if it's Steve's or does this belong to anybody?
And the teachers usually there.
Yeah, but someone just told me they shouldn't be traveling.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of where.
Which Rezo?
Washington Heights Sensor Envelope Renovation Project.
No, that's land use. That's me.
Is that circulated?
Hmm?
Are we voting on it?
Yeah, it's for the executive committee because DDC is going to PDC this Friday.
What was the second acronym?
The Public Design Commission, PDC.
Wayne is usually very explanative, so I don't feel like I have to read it in depth.
Okay.
But I didn't, I don't know.
Let me see if
I
it's
don't
on the
think it's
website.
circulated. Yeah, I didn't look at their table, I'm sorry.
Me neither.
Hey Wayne, do you
Definitely
see
catch
Meredith, is an the ED over at Cantico now?
Say that again?
Meredith, that was a Historic House Trust.
Yeah.
She's the executive director of Cantico at the Rockefeller Estate now.
Yes, she mentioned that when she was at the Morse Jamel Gala over the summer. And we're all invited to go visit. but not in this weather.
Alright,
PTH did a retreat there.
Do we at least have a copy of it if we need to screen share?
it's not on Airtable. Wayne, can you forward it? The,
That, it was circulated by Paula.
don't mind me, I see it at, oh, Friday, look at that,
Really?
wow.
I don't remember it.
Friday at 4. Okay, Ebony's, are you doing the live stream on your end?
Oh my god. What a mess.
Say it again, Catherine,
The live stream, are you doing it on your end?
you too? Yes.
Oh, okay, all right, cool, let's get
Yes.
started. I don't think we're quorum in person, 5, 6 online. I don't think we have quorum tonight, Wayne, but let's see.
I'm not in person because every time the exec committee moves from Monday to Tuesday, it conflicts with a standing meeting I have that starts at 7:30 on Tuesday, the third Tuesday.
I'll have you go first.
I think Isidro and Marriott count towards quorum. They both signed waivers, didn't they? I think we have,
It's almost,
I'm pretty sure they're both exempt,
okay.
so I think it's quorum. Right at 6.
We may have. We may have quorum, excuse me. All right, it's 6:40. Let's get started. Really short agenda ahead of us. I think the only thing, we're not doing secretary report.
Yeah, I don't even know what that
Yeah,
is.
we're not doing secretary. We're gonna do a treasurer's update. Leo should join online. But for our formal newbies, welcome to exec. Tanisha's been watching since she joined, but now she's part of it with us. And Alexis has stopped by as well. So, yeah, I mean, executive committees really are joint meeting. So, and especially as you guys have watched them, if there are changes to make, if there are things you would like to bring up, this is really that space to kind of co-create. I think that ideally exec committee is the space to like ask for feedback and support from fellow committee chairs. To flag areas of interest, to collaborate, and for us really to talk about the big pieces and work on the big pieces in order to like keep our board moving forward. And then the one that's like in the bylaws that is the main thing is really prepping ahead of the general meeting, which for us is really just getting a sense of like what's on the table for resolutions. What's maybe, any flags that maybe people want to flag, oh my God, wow. Anything that people want to flag, right? So maybe like a spicy topic that happened at your committee and you didn't know there was like 100 people at your committee meeting. So those kind of things are helpful as we like craft and expect and build anticipation for the general. The other thing we always do is look at our February and March calendars, which I can screen share today. And also like Paula sent them. All right, we're in that weird space of. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit. So we have, I think, a regular month for once. The only thing is like we're cutting it close, like post the general meeting, but I think we're back to a regular schedule for February, which is nice.
Not February.
Well, exactly.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Sorry, Aaron. President's Day is a Monday, so exec moved and so did general in this case. But I don't think there's any flags for February. I'm curious, is anybody interested or making motions similar like Mary at one point, in hosting their committee meeting outside of the board office in February? Like an alternative location?
Well, depends on the weather, but I'm thinking about doing some offsite. But I guess I'll let you know beforehand.
Yeah, it'd be good, I think, when we talk about calendar, like, if you're already thinking or exploring offsite, we discuss it here. Yeah,
Are you here about the committee meeting?
yes, committee meeting, not general. Or is it? Alright, so I'm gonna go on to March. Where's my Zoom? Ah, here. Okay, perfect. March, we're back on schedule. So same thing, if you're thinking of offsite meetings for March at this point, because February might be too soon, maybe hopefully a little warmer. Just flag that maybe for the next exec, so we can make sure that the physical calendar has the address of where it is.
And for any of these potential off-site committee meetings, how are we handling the hybrid, connection?
You gotta talk to whoever your staff liaison is. So let's say, like in the case of Mary, I think it was really clear. The Star Senior Center, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Ebenezer, you brought all the equipment and was able to run it okay?
Yes, we need to inspect the location in advance to make sure that the Wi-Fi setting can work with our equipment. So find out the location and let me know. I will go and scout it, see if we can have it there. Then we need to have the strategy, how the equipment gonna get back to the office after the meeting.
You mean we're not donating the equipment?
$1,000 hours. But yeah,
Do they have a draft question, the draft questionnaire yet?
they don't. I was looking at it today. They're like, oh, this is in my inbox. Go ahead, Jim.
I just wanted to mention that we committed ourselves whenever it was that all of our meetings will be hybrid. So that means if we have an offsite meeting, we are required by our own rules at this point, the resolution we passed, that it'd be a hybrid meeting.
Correct.
And keep that in mind.
Perfect. Thank you. I realized that we didn't have the DM report on here, and Leo's not here yet. Ebenezer, so no change for February or March. Do you wanna dive in or you have nothing to report on?
Yes, so it's no change for March, it's no change for February, so we're good with this calendar. Yes, I can give you a little report. Yesterday, there was a manhole fire that damaged some of the Con Edison gas infrastructure, impacted the gas services in the vicinity of West 170th Street and West 178th Street between Fort Washington and San Nicolas. A few residents that were out, according to Con Edison. We received the email yesterday. This afternoon, I received an email saying that the Con Edison has restored cooking gas for a majority of customers affected, and we're continuing to work with anyone that is still experiencing an outage. I didn't receive any complaints or any phone call this morning or any email yesterday regarding this item. I just received this information from Con Edison. If you know someone that has been affected with this, Con Edison report this afternoon that they restore the cooking gas for the majority of customers and is still working with the customer that is still affected. If you know anyone who needs assistance, please let us know. Or tell them to call 1-800-752-6633. Once again, 800-752-6633. And then regarding with the office operation, I am very happy to announce that we have a new contract for the copy machines. You may notice that we have a new copy since the last month. We got a better deal with Toshiba. Is the city contractor. We're gonna save some money starting next fiscal year, because in order to get rid of the other contract, we need to buy out a few months and also pay for the transportation. But in the long run, starting July 1st this year, we're going to save like a half of what we were paying. So that is good. And the product that we have, the machine that we have is the state of the art, is one of the latest model that we have in the industry of photocopy. This is the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Yeah, go first.
Sorry, Ebenezer, I think I heard you say that you don't know yet the cause of the cooking gas outage. Is there any way we can follow up to learn if it was something that we can expect to happen again? Because I think that's important to know and to kind of put pressure on Con Ed if it's gonna be a recurring issue.
Yes, they reported there was a manhole fire.
That was the cause of it?
Yes, a
Oh.
manhole fire. And I think I mentioned during my report, but that was the cause according to Con Edison. But yes, we're gonna keep an eye on this, and I can follow up the next district service cabinet meeting in February. Is there any other question?
Thank you.
I can say that there was severe traffic disruption on Fort Washington Avenue all day today. The number 4, the M4 bus was not moving down Fort Washington. It was on Broadway. There were a few blocks that were blocked off so that no traffic could go through.
Yes, I noticed this morning when I was driving to the office, a very, very unusual traffic that I need to change the way I come to the office on Broadway, that you cannot pass.
Right.
This
Right,
is-
because all of Fort
Yeah.
Washington's traffic was had to go to Broadway. So, even getting, to places at the hospital was impossible.
Yes, what the hospital reported last week at the district service cabinet meeting, that they are continuing with the demolition of the building on 165th Street and Fort Washington. They do the interior one. I don't know they are ready for the exterior, but they continue with the interior one. Also with the building on Broadway between 169 and 117, they are demolishing from inside. They will let us know when gonna happen outside, if they're gonna use some type of explosive to do it. They told me that they will let us know in advance so we can let the community know.
Yeah, I don't believe explosives are legal in the city anymore.
Well, let's see how they're gonna do it. Some type of demolition system that they're gonna use. They will let us know.
That would be good to put in the newsletter. That is part of the traffic thing of like, heads up if you're experiencing traffic, like part of a notice, like public notice.
Okay, I'm gonna investigate a little more and find out if that was the reason for this morning, and we can put it for the next newsletter next week.
Okay, cool. I guess over to you, Wayne, for the red zone.
Okay, thank you. This reso actually could have gone to Health and Environment, but there was a communications delay. DDC reached out to the office in December, but by the time, that request was conveyed to the Community Board, Health and Environment Committee already met. So it was given to Land Use because we moved the date of our meeting from the first Wednesday to the second Wednesday, since the first Wednesday was New Year's Day. This pertains to the building at the southwest corner of 168th and Broadway. It's the city's health center. And just for, background, years ago, the community board was going to pass a resolution asking the MTA to take care of the scaffolding around their subway station, but it was pointed out to the committee that the MTA had nothing to do with the scaffolding. The scaffolding was up because the building had facade work that needed to happen. And so after that, a committee was going to ask, Presbyterian or Columbia Medical to expedite that project, but the building is not owned by the hospital university. The building is owned by the city of New York. So the Department of Design and Construction is now undertaking a project to primarily deal with the building envelope, which is, the walls, the roof, the windows. But they're also working on some accessibility issues. There is a ramp on 168th Street, but the ramp is not long enough to meet ADA, so they're going to be replacing that with a new ramp that does meet ADA. And additionally, the original doors are a few inches too narrow to meet ADA. So those doors are going to be replaced with doors that will meet ADA. The original frame and transom, which are all Art Deco, that will remain, so they can work within that additional space. As you can see in the resolution, they're repairing the brick and limestone, and they're replacing the steel lintels, which are the steel supports that are, wherever you have a window opening, that's what's supporting the brick. All of the windows will be replaced, and they will, be energy code compliant. And also there's a laminated material in there that makes it bird friendly. The human eye will not necessarily see the pattern, but birds will see that pattern and not crash into that. There is a TB clinic in that building, and so the mechanical system is well past, its useful life, and that exhaust system is being replaced. And as you'll notice, the ductwork is running on the outside of the building, on the south facade. So the majority of the ductwork will now be inside the building. And there's some, sidewalk work, they're going to replace that. And there's a south courtyard that is being, rebuilt as well. Department of Design and Construction initially said in their emails to the Community Board office that it was going to the Public Design Commission in February. However, at the land use meeting, they corrected that. The meeting is January 24th, which is this Friday, which is why the resolution is being presented to the Executive Committee to vote on, because if we waited until the general meeting, we would have missed the opportunity to comment on that. So I think it's pretty, straightforward. This is a long overdue project, and the scaffolding, and we were trying to track down when it went up. It's been in place for at least 10 years. So when the facade work is done, this sidewalk shed can finally come down, and we will have a restored building. And the Land Use Committee urges the Public Design Commission to approve it, but we also urge the Department of Design and Construction to do whatever it can to expedite the project schedule to get it finished in a more expeditious manner. You can see from the schedule, although we're in the beginning of 2025, construction will not begin until the winter of 2026, and it'll take 2 years. So we're asking them to do whatever they can to speed that up. Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Wait, if you remember, probably 2 years back, 3 years back, we did pass a resolution that would take care of the removal of the scaffolding there. But of course, I mean, we don't want to go that back. And now, just my question to you is that going to be the first order of action?
It can't be. It can't be. The sidewalk shed is in place to protect the public because of the condition of the facade. Until the facade is repaired, the sidewalk shed cannot be removed.
All right, so that'll be completed after
That will be the last step.
Yeah, whatever construction phase it is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the sidewalk shed will be removed before they do the sidewalk replacement. But while they're doing, brick repair and limestone repair, and maybe even work on the roof and lintels, anything that could fall from the facade and hit someone in the head. And you may recall that's the reason why we have local law 11, because decades ago, a piece of building facade fell from a building at Columbia and killed someone. So until that potential danger is addressed, the sidewalk shed must remain in place.
Got it, okay.
Six.
2028.
Wayne, is this the building that says like Department of Health?
Yeah, the
Yes.
one.
Okay.
Yes,
They're gonna keep that up though, right?
yes, I mean, the Art Deco sign and sconces will be restored.
Alright, sorry, we were calculating quorum so we can vote, and because some of our Zoom folks are eligible to vote, we can vote. So I think this makes Alexis's first roll call. I mean, no, it doesn't make, I mean, you see who's here, that's fine. Oh. Well, they're all checked out, they're all checked out. You just got a couple water.
I want to get that.
Hmm?
Did you get that?
Take one back.
No, do I?
Yes, no, go for it, go.
I'm like, doing it. All right,
I'm sorry.
okay, just read down. Catherine Diaz, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Anthony Viola, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Tanisha? Oh, she's not here.
No, she is, she's online.
Tanisha Grant, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Darrell Cochran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Is Leo in here?
No.
That is not here. Mary Anderson, how do you vote?
Oh, Steve.
Can't hear.
Mary?
How do you vote?
It's me, Mary, you're saying?
Yeah.
How do you vote?
Okay. I can't hear, so.
How do you vote, Mary?
I'm having trouble understanding. Thank you, Wayne. I understand you. Okay, so I vote yes.
Oh, my God. Steve Simon.
Steve's here, actually.
Steve Simon, how do you vote?
You're muted, Steve, if you're here.
No, he's not. He's just not
All right,
saying.
we come-
Um,
Mariella Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Isidro Medina, how do you vote?
You're muted.
Oh, we can't hear you, Steve.
Can't hear you.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Now we can.
Wayne, how do you vote?
yes,
Eliezer Bueno, how do you vote?
I'm gonna trust Wayne's judgment and I'm gonna vote yes. Because I haven't read the result, that's why I said that.
Hector, I forgot how it works. Hector's here for cannabis, so does he vote? I forgot Jim.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Jim Berlin, how do you vote?
Jim doesn't vote.
I don't get to vote.
That's
I'm
what I was just-
above the committee, giving you advice.
Steve wrote yes, later he'll say yes.
Okay. Wow.
No, that's it. Mhm.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, cool.
so the reso needs to be finalized and sent to Ann Killian, like by Thursday, because the meeting is Friday.
We still need to ratify this though at the full board.
Well, yeah, but the executive committee is approving on behalf of the board. If by chance the board didn't ratify, and I don't know why the hell we wouldn't do that, we would advise DDC of that, but at this juncture, the executive committee is approving on behalf of the board, and it will be presented, yes, at the general meeting for ratification.
Paola does your resos? Is Paola your liaison?
It's Naomi, Noemi, excuse me, Noemi.
Okay, let me email her. Okay, cool. So let's go. Who else has resos before us besides licensing? Maybe we just start with licensing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little low, but go for it.
And what's going on?
No, Isidro. No,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. So nothing much from licensing. We only had 4 resolutions. 1 renewal, 1 corporate change, and 2 new licenses. One of the licenses the committee rejected because the applicant was requesting like really late hours at an area that practically every single committee member had an issue with. It's an area that is very well known to have lots of gang activities. And there was a license there before, but it was not a full liquor license. And those hours were very early at night. But the applicant indicated that they are going to go to SLA with the hope that they're going to approve. But the recommendation to the board is not to approve this applicant because of the many issues dealing with public safety. PD indicated that they will not object to this applicant, but they were very concerned about the surrounding area of this full liquor license. And that's basically it from licensing.
How many, do you know off the top of your head, how many? Oh, 4?
That's it.
Four.
Dang.
Yeah, you are making me see.
Yeah.
They might be a popular committee now. To join.
You're gonna leave Steve without a job. That's all he ever does.
All right, I guess our other licensing, Hector. Can you talk to us about the reso for the board this month?
Pardon the sound pollution. I'm outside right now. Just echoing Isidro, we had a very intense conversation towards the tail end of our meeting. But the committee was unanimous with most of our votes in decision making.
I don't think he knows we're talking.
Yeah. Sorry, could you, I forget, it's also your first time here, so really, just a quick download, so what can other committee chairs expect? So like, what was the reso? Were there any flags, comment, concerns, in terms of the applicant?
The cannabis applicant.
Yeah, that cannabis applicant, and if, if there was any community feedback and things like that.
Apologies about that. I was not in attendance for the cannabis meeting this month.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were at exec, because you were reporting for that one, sorry.
Apologies.
But okay, so we can expect for one, and then Nobles, or Carmen, I guess, will download folks at the general meeting.
Well, I was there at the cannabis meeting. I can put my 2 cents in if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
The people applying for the cannabis license were very aggressive and very combative. Like every time somebody asked them a question, like they got very defensive or kind of told us what they don't have to do. When Jamila got on from Carmen's office and was like, usually they'll come see us. He was like, the guy was like, well, I don't have to do that. I voted for Carmen, but the only one that I have to go through is, the office of cannabis. He was very, very, very aggressive. So I will be voting no on that because his attitude was just very nasty. And I've heard that this has happened before, and that's not the way. Like, I'm really concerned about how he's going to be with the community if he was like that with us. So I just wanted to flag that, and I'm sure that Carmen and Noble will follow up. But Noble was amazing. His patience is on another level. So, and so is Carmen's, because he was very, very nasty and just very dismissive and just disrespectful to the board as a whole for asking questions, which, they were supposed to do. So, I would like that to be on record because, that's not how we do things. That's not how we should be doing things. And that just makes me very, very anxious about how he will be interacting with the community that he's going to be, that his business is going to be in. And then he also talked about other parts of New York, how he in Long Island, Rockland, like he's not going to deny anybody. So I don't even think like that he is focused on making sure that people in Washington Heights or people in our neighborhood have opportunities to even work there. It was just very, very nasty. And I will always speak up about those type of things. And thank you, landed my plane.
Anthony had his hand, then, okay, Marielle Isidro, and then we'll go to the next group.
Yeah, Tanisha, do you know if the committee voted to object to the application? And if you know off the top
They
of your,
actually voted to pass it. And I was like, but listen, it's their committee. And leaders let other leaders do what they're gonna do. But Carmen is the only one that abstained and abstained. And I even jumped in like, we're asking you these questions because we want to make sure, that you're connected to the community and things like that. And then he kind of like backtracked, but the damage had already been done. So, I just want that to be noted before it's brought before the general board for a vote.
thank you.
Mario.
Thanks, Tanisha. I think it's the same question that Steve has. What's the location of this business?
I don't remember the
Don't
building.
get me to lying. Somebody gonna have to look that up. I know it's uptown. It's further like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
right
more
by the
towards Inwood.
Is there?
No, it's in between, so it's on Broadway. I don't know the building number, but it's next to the cigar room,
Okay.
room.
Yeah,
Fairview and
190. Yeah. So
Yeah, so on that
around the
block.
block from me is my point. Okay.
Yeah. But I think
Thank
it's
you, Tanisha, for raising that concern.
Very nasty.
Is
No.
there?
And then he kind of told us that he was nasty with us because he had been going through so much stuff with the cannabis office. And we're like, dude, we understand. I said, as a Black woman who investigated myself about getting into the cannabis business that has been criminalized for using marijuana, I know how hard it is. But don't bring that static to us. If y'all have a chance and y'all can go back and watch it on YouTube, I suggest the executive committee does, because I even hit the chair that night because it was that bad. And I heard like it was the second time.
Okay, Marielle, we'll go through the chain. Marielle Isidro Eliezer.
Sorry, I just forgot to lower my hand. Thank you.
Oh, Isidro.
Thank you, Chair. Tanisha, thank you so much for bringing that up. Sometimes I deal with this type of issues and licensing, and the level of presumptuousness of some either reps and or owner is something that should be noted by the board. I'm going to take a look at that on YouTube as you recommended. But thank you so much for bringing that up. And again, this happens every now and then, licensing. Sometimes we get attorney that they think that they know the community, that they don't have to come to the community, but we can send the message with our vote. So thank you so much, Tanisha. By the way, not surprised with Nobles about his level of decorum. Really great leader. So really appreciate what Nobles doing there.
Eliezer.
Yeah, I want to second Tanisha's input. Seldom times businesses reflect the personalities of their leaders, owners, X, Y, and Z. So my main thing is location. I think that we are getting, as usual, as we've been historically bombarded with same type of industry in the same type of location. So I would just thought that maybe we can spread the wealth, not just in the same 3 or 4 corners or whatever they have been for the past couple of years. So Tanisha, I'll second it, and I'm more interested in looking at which location they're gonna be trying to establish their business.
Yeah, Kathy put
Yeah.
the press in the chat, just FYI.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jim. And
even when Carmen asked, the man put down that he had other businesses. And when Carmen asked about them, he basically was like, oh, well, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Y'all need to go watch it. We was like, what?
Jim.
I want to second what everyone else has been saying about how important we as a community board, and this mostly happens at committee meetings, we make it clear as best we can. We don't necessarily have to vote against a project necessarily, but we have to make it clear that we, the community board, deserve respect. We represent our community itself, which deserves respect. And we actually had incidents where someone, a visitor, I think they were on the board of a co-op or something in that grant, they were disrespectful to one of the representatives of our city departments who had come to our meeting to speak. And again, we put our foot down and said, we do not speak to, representatives of the city government like that, and you will not do so either. And however you may behave as a board back where you have your board meetings, you can do whatever you want. But around here, we expect proper behavior and such. So I think it's important that and I think we're all on the same wavelength. I'm just cheering us on that we do not tolerate this nonsense.
Yeah, I put in the chat, and it's actually a good opportunity because I know for liquor licensing, we're playing with the questionnaire and things like that. And so for cannabis, not Carmen, well, Carmen was part of it, but Simari had put together like that initial package and really like emphasizing like an frequently asked questions doc that they get. So when they give notice for the first time and the office gives them, is like the first contact, letting them know, hey, what can I expect? One, how does it work? But also like, what can I expect? There was a little bit of that. I think it's a good opportunity, we can always take a look at it. Is that an area that needs to be kind of promoted more or like made more explicit on our website too, so that they know like the whole point of why community boards review any licensing is basically that, right? Like that community component. It's not necessarily for the businesses part of the business's operations, but that's not our like kind of like one focus across all licenses. So that way it's very made clear to them of what to expect. So while I think in the conversation it's there, I think it's always just good. We can double check our website, make sure that all of our materials really emphasize, hey, here's the like stuff that we care about as a board in our district.
And I forget which community board it is. It's one in Manhattan, but they do have, I think, for their licensing, they have a whole like list of things of what to expect for applicants.
Yeah, that was, I think it was 2 or 3. It was one of the Lower Manhattan ones, and that's one of the samples that Simari looked at.
Oh.
To be able to be like, oh, we should think of these packages. Yeah. But all right, cool. So that's 5. Who else got results this month? Besides Wayne. Okay, so we got 6 resolutions. Cool. All right, so we'll open it up for committee chair updates, questions, comments, concerns. We can go popcorn style, whoever would like to go.
I'll start. That's okay, unless there's an order on the agenda. Is there?
No, it's not in order in the agenda, so that's why I'm like, we can just go popcorn style.
Okay, just gonna make it right quick. During the last meeting, we had, the usual suspects, the DA's office, represented very brightly by Jocelyn Minaya and Fernanda Lujan, who in this time spoke about stalking. Apparently there has been several incidents of stalking in their offices. I'm assuming that there have been, she didn't really disclose a lot of information, but I'm assuming that it's in reference to cases and the volume of cases that they are handling. Seems as though they are related to the number of stalking cases apparently have increased. They also talked about an adult trafficking, human trafficking. That there was an incident in our community of an individual that was arrested that had been a perpetrator of a crime of human trafficking. Then we got a report from the 34th precinct, said that the crimes were overall down 24% from last year. We had for the quarter, for obviously the last 3 months, they haven't had any murders, negative 2 rapes, negative 15 robberies, 23 felony assaults, 8 burglaries, 43 grand larcenies, and 13 grand larceny and auto. They also discussed, there was an individual or a resident community stakeholder called Manny Gomez, who was complaining about the drug injection site at 180th Street in Amsterdam. He was complaining of that they had found syringes and drug paraphernalia in the Amsterdam 182nd Street. Obviously, that's becoming a problem. The Peter Reeves, resident of Academy Street, was complaining of the car driving and the donuts that they were doing in the streets. And then moving along to the 33rd precinct, they gave some numbers as far as crimes, which was down 1.4%. Obviously, 0 murders, 1 rape, 8 robberies, 20 felony assault, 8 burglaries, 25 grand larcenies, and 6 grand larceny and others. They have increased the number of police officers in the 168th Street A train and C train and 1 train platforms to the twofold. There's always police there. That's one of the subway stations that I take on a daily basis. So they are trying to do their best. For those of you who have followed the news, the governor has talked about having more police activity during the nighttime, especially in the overnight shift. So that's pretty much what happened in our meeting last week. Any questions? Isidro.
Yes, like I said, any updates on the new CO appointment on the 34th precinct? My understanding is that Castillo is out, but we also have someone from the 33rd precinct, Hernandez, that he's very interested in the job of 34th precinct. Any ideas when the community board will have a meeting with those that have been selected on the process of being interviewed by the community? Because I understand there's a process for the CEO to be appointed, where the community has a say. I would like to know if maybe the chair will know of any particular meeting that has been requested for to the board. Did they give you any update on that?
Not to us. And I think, from my own knowledge, is that they had done away with the community board selection of COs in each communities. So they haven't announced it in our meetings. I don't know if they have sent any correspondence to the office, but as far as I'm concerned, no, we had no discussions surrounding that particular subject.
Chair, do we have any mails
I
coming in that
haven't
you
got
know?
Castillo's out in 34. So like I still don't have any formal notice that he's out. So definitely not in terms of like who's next.
Because my understanding there'll be a meeting on the 27th of this month with only 2 candidates are going to be shown at the precinct for questions. But there isn't like a person of color there, nor a person that knows the community. So we're a little bit worried about bringing someone that do not know the community, as we have previous cases where some officers went into some restaurants and they just shut down some of our small businesses. And that is something that we cannot have a repeat of. And I think that we should have an idea, or at least a notice, that the community could have an
I'll
input.
reach out to Stevenson, because when we interviewed Hernandez, like we interviewed the 33rd for Hernandez, and I remember that was a pilot. I don't know if that means that only one out of
That was
interview.
Yeah, you're absolutely 100% correct. That was a pilot program. So there's no guarantee that they're going to continue on with the program, especially with the new commissioner and all of the shaking and baking that's happening at NYPD. So we don't know yet. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. No one knows. Not even they know exactly what the next procedure is going to be like.
So
I'll find out regardless to know who's the CEO right now. At least,
right now, I think what happens is they have the exec act as the acting CO. whoever the exec was is the acting CEO until they appoint the new CEO. So I'm gonna try and find that out tomorrow, and I'll let you guys.
FYI, there'll be a meeting on 27th at the 34th precinct where residents can ask questions. So I'll be sure to be there. But I hope that
I'm
there'll
not
be more-
invite, cause if it's like open to residents to ask questions, then. Oh, we should have absolutely gotten that.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna, before I jump off, I'm gonna read something that Steve wrote on the chat. And it says the DA's office say that as many as 61% of the cases that are being dismissed because they cannot meet deadlines for providing the discovery info to the defense. That's what someone said or someone wrote in the Daily News. With that, I finish my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you did have a question.
you said there was a complaint, somebody made a complaint that there was, paraphernalia near On Point.
That's been the history behind that site for as long as it's been there. Apparently they've come in front of our committee very seldomly or in the past more than they do now. One of the commitments that they did and promises that they made when they first opened up the facility is that they were going to have a crew of people obviously taking care of whatever paraphernalia was left in the most active corners close to the facility, especially 182nd Street being one of them, because you have the school who's extremely dark at night and it has a scaffold that covers almost the entire half of the corner on 182nd Street and half of Amsterdam between 182nd Street and 183rd Street. So it's an ongoing problem. The On Point, I think, is that the new name is they have tried their best as to try and mitigate the issues, but it's one of those things that is an ongoing issue. It's not going to just finish unless they're not long around.
Ask, because I work with On Point during the summer when I'm doing work in Marcus Garvey Park. So I was just curious if, I know Jason's always been great and very responsive, so I was just curious if he has shown up to any of these meetings, or have you reached out to him?
Yeah, Jason hasn't been in one of our meetings since the summer 2024. Obviously he's extremely busy. I see his van all over the place. So he is doing something, but it's probably more than he can handle. And I don't know, probably need more staffing. I don't know.
They do. It's true. No, they do, because I worked with them over the summer, and where I used to have like 4 people on site. Now I was lucky I had 2 people on site this summer at Marcus Garvey. So, and I know that they're in Marcus Garvey a lot. So I was just curious, because I know that staffing has been a big issue for him lately.
Yeah. So it's a little tough of a job, but they do their best. That much I can tell you. Jason is a great guy to work with.
I know. Worked with him for a couple of years now. He's great. I was just curious.
Okay. All right, we'll go to the next person. I think it's Mariel. She has her hand up.
Thanks, Kathy. Hi, Eliezer. Hope you're well. Quick question. Did they talk about anything regarding auto theft or like break-ins and car issues? Just because I know that has been quite rampant, and I think it was either earlier today or earlier this week. Hold on, Mama. I saw apparently like there was some kind of communication that came out from the police department, just alerting kind of people saying, look, there's a increase in car theft and, people stealing tires and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to ask about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, since they didn't in this meeting, the last meeting, but there was for like the mid right after the summer, that fall 2024, car thefts spiked probably one of the highest levels, because there was a gang that was still on a specific model, which is Honda CRVs. That's probably one of the cars that they were looking for. So they I think I saw it in the newspaper that they had cut them. So yeah, there's still some of them roaming around, doing damage, but not as much as it did at the latter part of last year's. So that was not part of the discussion in our last meeting.
All right, Marielle, do you want to dive right into your report?
Sure, I can. I mean, we didn't have much. We had a really, really short meeting in January. We usually have presenters, and unfortunately, we didn't have any this month. But we are hoping to have HRA for our February meeting, and possibly oh goodness, Adang from Brent Guidelines Board to kind of start that process as well. One thing that I do want to flag for all of you, and I've kind of mentioned it several times, is the Know Your Rights event that I've been working on with Congressman Espaillat's office. We now have a date. I'm just waiting for his office to send the flyer so that we can get that out, but the tentative date, or it's most likely, it's the 29th. So that's next week, I think. I think that's a Wednesday from 5 to 7. It'll be on the Congressman's Facebook page. It'll be kind of like a Facebook Live virtual for safety reasons. We're partnering with several of the elected officials across the community, but also a lot of immigrant-based organizations. So it's like, what happens if you are detained? What happens if a loved one is approached by ICE? What are the things that you can do? And then another portion of the event, or the second portion of the event, are kind of more tangible resources around, like NIMIC, we've invited, and a couple of other kind of community-based organizations that work on this. So as soon as I get the flyer from his office, then I'll make sure that's, if we can please publicize it. There will be translation, so they are kind of working to secure translation in Spanish, I think in French as well, and possibly one or two other languages. So we're really trying to make sure that this is as as wide as possible in terms of its outreach, and really want to see a lot of people on there. So just wanted to raise that again. Thank you.
Can you, when you get the flyer, can you just loop in Noemi into that so it can be, we can actually send it out multiple times and not just in our one thing?
Will do.
He has a question.
Yep.
More of a comment. So to that end, yesterday, Congressman Espaillat had a press conference here at Alianza, and he had all the electeds with him and announced a Know Your Rights program as well, where they have a card that the office is giving out physically, but you could also obtain from his website that lists sort of advice of how a person should deal with a situation if ICE were to approach them, whether at their home or elsewhere. And I think that that's probably something we'd want to circulate in addition to the flyer. So people on our news blast or otherwise, or email blast, can obtain that and access it as needed.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. From what I understand from his office, this is kind of part of a suite of several events. So the press conference, this workshop that I mentioned happening next week, and a couple of others that the office is planning. So yeah, no, thank you for flagging that. I think that's a great suggestion.
And to piggyback on that, I know Moya, the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, has a new 16-page document at the start of their website about those rights.
To that end, though, sorry, I don't want to.
No, but we should get the physical card. I mean, is it a physical card, Marielle, that they're doing?
No, so it's all virtual. Everything's gonna be virtual, but there is we have spoken about then circulating kind of information afterwards to everyone who signs up. We have invited Moya, or at least the Congressman's office has invited Moya, and a couple of other kind of city agencies, but also again, community-based organizations like Legal Aid Society and a couple others.
Do we know what immigrant organizations or CBOs that they have invited?
Yes. Immigrant, not all have confirmed, so we're still waiting. I need to follow up with them tomorrow. Oh goodness, I don't have the list in front of me, but it's Immigrant ARC, Legal Aid Society, Hold on. If you give me a minute, I can pull it up. I just need a minute to find it and I can let you know. I'll
Put
come
it in
back.
the chat. Ruben.
Okay, not a problem.
All right. I think we move on to who wants to go next.
I can go. Hey, Chair, and rest of exec. I'm sorry for jumping in late. I had a commitment to basketball teams I coach, and we just finished not too long ago. So my apologies. So I'll start with traffic. We are putting out 2 resos this month that we voted in support at the committee level. The first reso, so let me just give you a bit of background, I guess, on the first reso. Say Spirit on Greek Orthodox Church, which also leases their building to School on the Square. They came to us about 2 months ago with concerns that their parishioners and student parents were getting tickets from the ACE program. The ACE program is automatic camera enforcement program that MTA rolled out late summer. Pretty much if you're parked in a bus lane, if you're double parked, if you're blocking a bus for illegal reasons, the camera will take a picture of a license plate and you will get a ticket in the mail. The ticket's $50. After a couple offenses, it goes up to $250. So St. Spiridon came to us. They were pretty upset that they had to fork out a lot of money to their parishioners and parents because of this. They asked for some type of resolution. MTA stressed the point that it's a legality thing and that's coming from the governor, and it's here to stay. Obviously, DOT can't support anything because again they don't do enforcement, but they uphold all regulations and laws, and double parking is illegal. I met up with the council member's office, Jamila, Lyle from DOT, Alberto from MTA, St. Spiridon, and a couple of other stakeholders at a walkthrough last month, at the end of the month, to discuss this issue. It's obviously, if you guys don't know where the location is, it's between 180th and 179th and Wadsworth Avenue. If you guys are familiar with it, it's a headache. It's a lot of traffic. There's a bus run along that way. It's a narrow street, 2-way, with 1 lane going in either directions. There's residential parking, parking, not residential parking, public space parking all around. And on the school, so on the west side of the block, there's no standing, which is supposed to be used for student drop-off and pickups. And right in front of the church, there's no standing or no parking. That's a space saved for the pastor or the reverend of the church. So the ask, and we concluded with DOT that MTA can't do anything, but with DOT, we can reimagine the curb space. The determination came down and everybody was in agreement that there's 3 public spaces towards closer to 180th on the west side. And in order to alleviate some of the headache that they're dealing with, what the school is dealing with as well, we would remove those 3 public spaces, not remove it, but have DOT install no standing signs from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. to allow for proper school drop-off and pickups and for the parishioners to unload and load their passengers. As they explained, a lot of their parishioners are older, so it takes more than 2 minutes. It takes about 2 minutes for MTA to take the picture on the buses, and it takes more than 2 minutes for people to unload passengers. So our resolution is in support of installing no standing signs throughout the block, removing those 3 spaces and installing no standing signs daily from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. to allow or alleviate some of this headache. That passed 5-0 with 5 positive, no abstentions, no negations at the committee level. We will be producing that at the community board, general board meeting for support. And our second resolution is coming to us from MTA on 9th Avenue between 218th Street and 220th Street on the east side of the block. There's no standing, no parking. Their ask is to extend it from 218th, 219th all the way to 220th Street. So for a block, it'll take about 18 parking spaces. There is a project coming from MTA in the near future. They're looking at Lake Quarter 2. And it's a repair for the roof at the Kingsbridge Depot. The reality is that they need this because the buses come out of the depot. It's a 24/7 bus operation. And because of Zeta Charter School, so Zeta has a middle school and an elementary school at this location. Because of their pickup and drop off situation, they often double park and triple park to drop off students, and that is slowing down bus routes, slowing down the buses. Sometimes I drove by there myself, and I was stuck within those 2 blocks for about 15 minutes, and it's just a mess. So by removing these parking spaces, it would just kind of allow for the buses to come out, transition smoothly without any issues. And those are the resolutions we'll be bringing to the board this month.
Did we have, I actually, no, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna test it on Airtable, because I feel like we've had results around Zeta before. I just can't remember if they're on DLT. I mean, if it was from your community center.
Yes, Zeta's been I've been on the committee for a while, but Zeta's been an issue. It's continuous, the same thing. DOT and MTA have done numerous walkthroughs. We actually have a committee walkthrough with them next week. You guys can feel free to join. I can send that information to you. But we'll have a walkthrough as well next week, Wednesday, just to kind of observe the situation. It's a mess there. Their drop off and pick up coordination from the school is pretty bad. You have cars triple parked, double parked. Sometimes the parents leave the car on idle and leave it there for a while, so it becomes a gas emission issue as well. And yeah, most buses in our area come out of there, so it becomes an issue. And if you know the area, 9th Avenue, there's also a sanitation, our district sanitation, I guess, garages there as well. In the past, we were housing 2 other districts because they were under repair. So we have it's constant traffic in the area. As you guys know, the Allen Pavilion is up the block. Columbia University, their field is nearby. It's a few businesses out there. Spectrum has a location there. I believe they have like a tech center there. So it's just a lot going on in that area. And Zeta hasn't helped the situation. They've made it worse. So we're just trying to find a temporary solution to this issue to at least allow the bus to flow and increase their speeds during this time. And that's what the resolution covers. It's just to remove those parking spaces so that they come out, they don't have issues to getting into the depot, getting out while they do their roof repair at Kingsbridge.
Eliezer.
Yeah, let me know offline, because I think this is more slants towards the MTA neighborhood than it does transportation. But let me offline. Look, just call me offline.
Yeah.
And I'll
We'll
help you
speak.
through it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll speak.
All right, no problem. Thanks.
And then, did you still want to share an update as treasurer?
Yeah, so my second part to it, guys, bear with me. I met with Kathy and Ebenezer last week. They kind of briefed me through and gave me a very detailed explanation how things work, how the budget works, the payments. So I'm familiarizing myself a bit with it. I'm working on the spreadsheet, kind of mirroring Michelle's spreadsheet, but adding my own twist and just kind of my own thing to it so that I can report accurately. But 2 things. So there is some money left from the budget, from the grant that Councilmember De La Rosa gave us. In the past, we've used it for other things, but the chair recommended something, and I think it's a great opportunity for each committee. There's some money that'll be left over, and I don't got specific yet. I should find out the next week or 2. But we're trying to give each committee some money so that they can have funds to host an event or to do something special for the committee, obviously involving the public. I'll give you an example of something I plan on doing. As you guys might have heard, we have a representative from DOT in the busway, and I'm trying to use the money that would be allotted to my committee to hold a public forum, just to invite the public to hear this out and just give them more information on what's to come. But again, it's up to you guys to do what you want with your committee. We're setting the deadline sometime in February, as we have to submit certain things by April. The fiscal year ends in late June. So we just want to throw that out there so you guys can start thinking about it. And again, I will reach out with more details through an email. And then the other thing is we want to allot budget for the community board, for the committees, and for the office to do certain things. I prepositioned Read.ai, which is a software that takes meeting minutes. Well, I know a lot of, including myself, a lot of people are busy during the meetings. Oftentimes, the vice chair is stuck with doing meeting minutes, and we try to reconfigure that or re-engine that through the bylaws. The reality is that there's just a lot going on. So Read.ai is a program or a software that we incorporate through Zoom, and it takes details for the minutes so that it transcribes it for you and then kind of breaks it down instead of you having to follow up through YouTube and take your own notes and stuff like that. Again, it's nothing set in stone. It's just an idea I'm putting out there. We would obviously go through it through the exec. If it's something plausible, something that we can use at our committee level. But I just want you guys to just think it through and see what works. I'm also open to ideas. Again, I'm stepping into this role and I'm coming in with open ears. I know Steve in the past has said that he looks for a more transparent process. I think the board has been pretty transparent. The past executive committees have been pretty transparent with the budget, but we're just opening for the floor for if anybody has any ideas for consideration. And that's all I have right now for my report. I'll give more details next week at the general board meeting.
I think that's old. Oh no, go ahead. And then Tanisha.
You called me?
Yeah, I thought that was an old hand, but I realized it's
Oh
not.
no, it's the new hand. I just very brief. Is on the minutes issue. I put in a call to our chair in reference to what other community boards are doing throughout the city. As far as the upkeep and the uploading of the minutes.
Yes,
the technology.
Yep.
Yeah, that what they're doing nowadays is that they're utilizing the YouTube recording official as part of the minutes as an official record. I don't know whether this is something that the Manhattan Board Commissioner's Office has already approved for, but I deal with almost all 59 boards in some way or another. And if any time that I'm looking for information related to transportation, they usually ask me to retrieve it from the YouTube minutes. So I'm just throwing that out there as a way of, and I know that our good friend Jim has raised his hand, so he's gonna shed some light into the issue.
Said before Jim though, we got Tanisha.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with letting AI take the notes. I use it personally, and they take very detailed notes. You know, these computer people. There are certain things that I would say absolutely not for AI, but that's one thing that I am on board with too. For our meetings, to have the AI take the notes and just kind of copy and paste that. And you can always, like, if they make a mistake or whatever, you have the ability to change anything in the notes that they send you as well. So I think that would be a great idea for that.
Tanisha.
In any language, right?
Jim?
Two comments. There's a distinction between a recording of the meeting and a transcript of the meeting where the whole meeting is there and you actually have to go find stuff, as opposed to minutes, which are a summary of the meeting. Now, I think, and there may be some community boards that, do this, go look at the whole transcript, but, that's not, minutes exist for a reason because they're a summary. Now, if AI can summarize meetings, that's fine. But the thing we must keep in mind about AI at this point in time is it inevitably makes mistakes. It makes things up. So there's an absolute necessity that the chair of the committee or some designee of the chair of the committee actually review these to make sure that they're accurate and nothing's been invented or anything. Because that's again an inherent flaw, from my opinion, the inherency with this AI that we have at the moment. And again, just to reiterate my other point, just referring someone to an entire transcript is unfair to the person trying to get the information. You know, the parliamentary procedure has the requirement of taking minutes for a very specific reason, so that people have a summary available to them. And as a board, I think, you know, again, if we can use AI and of course do the proper diligence to make sure that it's done its job properly and not left things out also, then that's fine. But asking people just to look at the entire recording or transcript, that's not reasonable, and it's not consistent with parliamentary procedure. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And just to piggyback and add to Jim's point, Tanisha, and Eli's point, we still have to do our due diligence and job to go over the summary of meeting minutes that AI produces. This just facilitates and makes it easier for all our lives to, so again, sometimes as a chair or as vice chair, we're involved in the meeting and certain things are just not accounted for. And then you have to go back to YouTube, go to about 2.5 hours of recording, at least at Traffic and Transportation, our meetings usually last about 2 hours, and just kind of break things down. We'll just give you a summary. Read.ai was recommended by Eli a couple months ago for me. I actually use it in my job. I haven't really used it at the board, but I've used it in my job, and I can sit down with each committee chair and kind of show them how it works, but it really breaks down details, captures names, even tells you engagement data. It's very impressive. So it's something to just consider. Again, we want to make sure that the money that we have at the board is used effectively. We don't want to just throw into something where we're not going to use it. But yeah, that's pretty. And then I just want to answer Steve Simon's question. So Steve, my understanding is that they are still housing one of the districts. I can follow up, but I know that it's one sanitation district is still in that garage. And yes, we do have trucks from Manhattan District 8 housed there as well.
Yeah, a quick comment just back to the AI point, and I think this should be really quick. Synthesizing what everyone has said already, when the produced summary for each meeting is made, when copying that, I think it's just important as a friendly reminder that we're putting it into the templates that the board provides, and that this may be a good opportunity to start to synchronize across the committees, the formatting and the letterhead and everything that Kathy and Simari previously worked on.
Yeah, I mean, people do ask for minutes from 2000 and whatever, like, you know, so it is, I mean, now obviously we can, and moving forward, as long as we have YouTube, there's no ban on YouTube, we'll have the recordings. But yeah, I mean, and I don't want to put you two on the spot, but that's kind of one thing that maybe next month, if it's free, like to think of, like, oh, here's some options. There's Read. There's a million of them now. I don't know them all. Zoom has one, but it doesn't
Apple
work
has
for
it.
us.
Apple has it.
I did not know that. Yeah. But maybe like, let's think maybe top 5, top 3 with monthly pricing in it. And so that way we can kind of figure out how to fit it into the budget before the end of the fiscal year. Could be
Because I'm on the committee, hiring committee for Grantor, and somebody on there has Owl, and Owl takes the notes and gives us transcript.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. So, okay, so that's one. So let's look at the pricing. You think next exec that could work for next exec?
Yeah, that's all. It was even asking. Maybe it's already included in our plan. Who knows?
No, I know it's not, because we just have the devices. We don't have like
Oh,
a
you
plan.
know,
with them.
But I forget who said too, to find out maybe from the borough president's office too, if they have any guidance on that. Because I know, I think for other agencies, we're not allowed to use AI. So is the community board?
That's actually a point.
That's
I don't-
yeah, they do ban. No, ChatGPT's not.
Right, that's banned.
Yeah.
I think Gemini
I'm-
there was very good for minute taking. Gemini 2.0.
Okay.
That's Google's AI.
Okay, that's a good point. I'll bring that up. I think it's just ChatGPT though, and the devices,
Oh, gotcha.
but it would be interesting to see. But yeah, I can reach out. All right, Mary's turn. Go ahead, Mary.
Sorry, I had to unmute.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to say our last meeting, we had at the board office, but we had an excellent presentation about, hospice and palliative care from the folks at MJHS. And, they really went into a lot of detail about who qualifies for, going into hospice, what palliative care is versus what hospice is. And the minutes reflect all of that because our new, well, relatively new board committee member, Erwin, took the minutes for me, and he did some excellent recording of everything that was discussed. One of the things I'm having difficulty with, Catherine, is presentation for our next meeting in February. I had sent you a couple of emails and I didn't hear anything back. I'm wondering if you've heard anything from the Columbia Transportation folks.
No, but let me.
Because I mean, the meeting is upon us.
Let me email Diego again, or have you spoken with Diego?
I'm sorry?
Diego from Columbia, he oversees their community affairs. He was the one I reached out to, and told me that they were looking into it, so let me follow up.
It would have to be for March. I really don't want to have it in March because I'm not going to be here. So
yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
that one's a big one. Let's see if we can fit it. February, you meet what date? I think
I'm sorry? The February meeting is the 6th.
The 6th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Let's see what we can do.
Let me know because I spoke to somebody about an alternate presentation, but I don't just want to pop up with something, but I want to get the agenda done and then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I have something I need to bring up under new business, but that'll wait.
Actually, you're the last committee chair update, I think, so. Oh, okay. Thank you, Steve, but yeah, that might be helpful. Well, definitely a report would be good. All right, so that wraps up our committee updates. I don't hear any old business. I know I've had some like standing items. I didn't get to do that for this month, but for next month, we'll have a little bit more. In terms of our handbook or our how-to, and our website issues, so
Yeah.
we'll get there. And then for new business, Mary.
Under the old business, wasn't there something from the last meeting that we were supposed to discuss at this meeting?
There was, and I still have to have more sit downs. I started to have that conversation. This is around personnel. And I think it'll be part of Leo's report next month.
Okay. I just wanted
So yeah, because we discussed it, but we still got some like OMB questions. So next month, I think hopefully we'll get there concretely.
Yeah, just making it back off Kathy. We discussed it last week, Ebenezer, Kathy, and I. And it's something that we'll bring up at the next exec, but stay tuned.
Sorry, what was the new business you wanted to bring up, Mary?
Yes. I haven't yet seen an announcement about the service, the memorial service for Jay Mazur. Is that
Thank you, I have that.
still something that you're going to get in, because the service is going to be on it?
Yeah, the service,
And people
so
aren't notified yet.
give me a sec, I'm catching up on email. I owe the whole board that email. I gotta prioritize that tomorrow. One second, because I'm catching up also on my email.
Yeah,
And
'cause I sent you
so
the
has a date now, which is February
15th.
15th. I'm gonna update that day. So I have to delegate in terms of, actually, wait, there's a few new items. I have to delegate for around J. There was an ask about, the obituary in the New York Times and how they do like the in memoriam. I don't know how to navigate that. I don't know if they've
Well,
kept.
actually, Liz had answered them about that. You know, it's apparently extremely expensive to do. So she actually told them that that probably wasn't going to be passed. But we're wondering if there's.
Okay, I'm catching up now, I'm sorry.
Help. I'm sorry,
Financial contribution, what was it?
I can't understand you, Kathy.
I'm sorry, I kept interrupting you. You go first and then I'll tell you.
Well, I was saying that Liz had actually explained to them that it's probably too expensive to put something in the New York Times. Apparently that costs thousands of dollars, and it's, you know, probably not. We're not able to do that through the board. However, what we were wondering is if there are some discretionary funds available so that we could contribute toward the memorial, you know, for the I'm at loss for the words, you know, you know, maybe donate some money towards the paper goods or something like that.
We, yeah, I'm sorry,
You know, like a couple of $100 or something, you know, I mean.
yes, I thought Ebenezer responded like saying yes to certain things. So one, I can't physically be there, so yeah, I'll delegate in terms of like remarks about Jay on the board. Two, for sure, I think the question is, and I'll follow up with you and Liz via email of what would be most helpful. Like, we have a ton of paper goods, so like if it's 100 things of paper goods, like we actually have boxes that we can donate. And we can still make a financial contribution. And should. So I feel like whatever's most impactful and helpful for folks putting together the memorial is kind of like how I'm seeing it. So the flower arrangement, that's fine. But anything else you feel like we should cover or would be more helpful?
Okay.
So I'll just write that in email tonight.
So I know that Liz had emailed you also.
Yes. I got the follow-up a day ago. No, longer than that, sorry. Yeah, we have time a little bit, so we'll for sure cover stuff, and then I'll respond to her about delegating it. And then to save the date for all the board members.
Yeah, because we need to get that announcement to the board members, because there are a lot of people that need.
Is this an open?
Needs to know and may want to go.
Yeah, is this an open like memorial? Like, should we put it all also on our newsletter, or is it just private for the board?
I think a shout out, you know, an blast to the board members.
Okay.
Because sometimes I get to read that updated information and sometimes I don't. You know, I'm just saying for myself, so I'm assuming that other people have the same issue, or they read it a week later, you know.
Okay, so I'll do that to save the date. And then for two other events, and affected before the meeting started for parks is that the Fort Washington Library's reopening is on Thursday. They're doing a like public ribbon cutting. In this week's newsletter, it was included. And then, Wayne's not here. I have to find out, or actually, Marielle, did you hear anything about 37 Hillside, the Riseboro building? The senior building?
Are you talking about the opening, right? That they had?
When was it?
Wasn't it yesterday? There was something happening near there for Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Oh, that was, but I don't think that was a ribbon cutting. Was it the ribbon cutting?
What?
The,
Riseboro?
Oh, no. You mean the event?
Those are
Yeah.
two separate events, maybe.
no, it's separate. Yeah, what I'm talking about is there's a ribbon cutting. I
Correct.
haven't gotten anything about that. And I think it's at the same time as the Fort Washington Library, so.
I did receive something for it. I'll double check and I'll get back to you. Let me check now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, please do. Thank you. All right, Jim, to wrap it up.
Okay, I just want to respond to Mary's point about this memorial for Jay. I think we should actually publish it to the whole community because Jay was involved in a lot of activities outside of the community board. And since it will be a public memorial, I think that, we should notify as many people as possible to come and honor him if that's what they would like to do.
We can do both, right? We can
Yeah.
have a bespoke e-blast to the board and put it in the newsletter.
Yeah, it's two separate lists, so we can do
Right,
both.
my point was to also put it in the newsletter so that, because he was in his own way very influential.
Yeah. No, that's why I also asked, 'cause I always like my conversations with Jay were always about groups outside of here. And things outside of here. So I'll all right, I have to craft like the statement for that to go into the newsletter. But all right. I got you. All right, any other new business before we adjourn? Dykeman Restaurant, Dykeman, there's another.
I have
January.
a suggestion to make if possible, very short. We've lost a good amount of our elderly or older adults, young members in the past 3-4 years. So I was just thinking if there was anything that we can do to kind of like do some sort of remembrance and trying on the one that includes Jay, which happens to be an extremely person that I really had a special love for, that we can acknowledge and recognize Betty and the rest all back. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there to see if it sticks.
Yeah, and I'd love to finish the plaque before, we could probably do that by the end of Q2, which is, the plaque for this room. In honor of Betty. So.
What plaque?
Years ago, we had talked about, I don't think we crafted a reso, but there was board consensus. Oh, we did? Around naming our meeting room after Betty and adding a plaque with a bio about her and naming this space for Betty.
Oh, I must have missed that meeting.
Yeah.
It was old. My memory sometimes don't work, but for some stuff, it sticks. A little more. Oh, actually, because she passed like it was like
Like
right
the week
after.
after. The
Yeah.
week after she passed.
Okay, thank you, Marielle. So, all right, so we got the ribbon cutting also at 37 Hillside can you forward that to me, please? Via email at 10 a.m. on the 23rd. So this is a new senior building, super nice. With the I think it's a Baptist church at the bottom. And yeah, but it's at the same time as the ribbon cuttings for the Sorry, so it's the same time as the ribbon cutting as for Washington Library, and then Steve has issues with his, with his Zoom, he can't unmute. So we also have another ribbon cutting on January 28th at, not 10:30 PM, that's not it. Not sure which time. Around the Dykeman Rest, which is basically the new dog run and playground. On Fort George Hill and Dykeman Street. Oh, the thing right across from the projects, okay.
Yeah, that was in the notes.
10:30 AM. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Arts and culture notes, because there, people were wondering why A, wasn't gonna be when kids could be there, and why was it being done during the winter, et cetera.
So it wasn't kind of set, but it sounds like it's a
Great question.
I think I can be that one for sure. All right, so I'll have them throw all these ribbon cuttings onto a calendar. And then I think, yeah, and see if the office staff can at least attend one of the two if folks aren't available. All right, anything?
You need a motion?
I'll second.
Yeah, so we got 2 motions to adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Stay warm.
Night.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Go home safe, stay warm.